The endless void of space stretched before Li Sung's eyes as he guided his salvage vessel through the cluttered expanse of the Kuiper Belt. Chunks of rock and ice drifted past his view screen like silent ghosts in the darkness. The Star Chaser's worn hull creaked softly as it maneuvered between the debris, its aging systems working overtime to keep him safe in the hostile environment. Sung had spent 2 decades out here in the belt, scraping together a living by collecting valuable minerals and abandoned spacecraft parts. His small ship might not have been pretty, but he'd modified it extensively over the years. Extra sensor arrays, reinforced hull plating, and custom scanning equipment gave him an edge over the corporate salvage operations that rarely ventured this far out. The sudden beeping from his scanner drew his attention. He leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the displays. Something was different about this signal. It didn't match the usual patterns of metal deposits or frozen gases he typically encountered. "Computer, magnify grid section K7. He commanded, his fingers dancing across the worn control panel. The main screen shifted, focusing on a tumbling asteroid roughly the size of a small space station. At first glance, it appeared completely ordinary, just another chunk of space rock among millions. But as the enhanced scans penetrated its surface, Sung's eyes widened. Beneath the cratered exterior, geometric patterns emerged that defied natural formation. Regular angles and smooth surfaces suggested artificial construction, hidden beneath meters of rock and ice. His heart began to race as he ran the scans again, checking and double-checking the readings. "This can't be right," he muttered to himself, but the data remained unchanged. Whatever lay within that asteroid, it wasn't natural, and it wasn't human-made either. The energy signatures were unlike anything in his database. Sung pulled up the Salvagers Guild regulations on his secondary screen, already knowing what they would say. Section 47.3. All unregistered artificial structures must be reported immediately. Solo investigation is strictly prohibited. The fine for breaking this rule could wipe out a year's worth of profits. He glanced at his oxygen reserves and suit integrity readings, both showing comfortable margins. The asteroid slowly rotated less than a kilometer away, tempting him with its secrets. 20 years of following the rules had left him comfortable but far from wealthy. A discovery like this could change everything. "Computer, plot an approach vector," he decided, already calculating the risks. Out here in the far belt, guild patrols were rare. By the time anyone noticed his find, he could already be well into his investigation. If it turned out to be nothing, no one would ever know. And if it was something significant, the Star Chaser's thrusters fired gently, bringing him closer to the mysterious asteroid. Sung activated his ship's magnetic grapples, preparing to anchor himself to the rocky surface. His experienced eyes picked out a suitable landing spot, a relatively flat area near where the scans showed the strongest anomalies. As he made his final approach, a new alert caught his attention. The energy readings from within the asteroid had changed, spiking briefly before settling into a regular pattern. Something inside had reacted to his presence. Sung's hands hovered over the controls as he debated his next move. The smart choice would be to back off now, call it in, and wait for a guild investigation team. But curiosity and the promise of a discovery that could set him up for life proved too strong to resist. "Computer, begin recording all sensor data," he commanded, reaching for his EVA suit. The worn but well-maintained equipment had saved his life more than once out here in the belt. As he methodically checked each seal and connection, he couldn't shake the feeling that this routine salvage operation was about to become anything but routine. With practiced movements, he cycled through the airlock and engaged his magnetic boots on the Star Chaser's hull. The asteroid loomed before him, its cratered surface bathed in stark light and shadow. His suit's enhanced vision systems picked out details invisible to the naked eye, subtle regularities in the rock formation that strengthened his suspicion about what lay beneath. Beginning surface approach, he logged into his suit's recorder, more out of habit than any real expectation that anyone would hear it. Initial readings suggest artificial construction beneath approximately 3 meters of surface material. Energy signature continues to show regular oscillation. As he prepared to make his way across the short distance to the asteroid's surface, Sung couldn't help but smile despite his nervousness. In 20 years of salvage work, he'd never encountered anything like this. Whatever he was about to discover, he knew his life would never be the same after today. The distance between his ship and the asteroid seemed to stretch eternally as he carefully maneuvered across the gap. With each passing moment, the energy readings grew stronger, pulsing like a beacon that called to him across the void. Something waited in the darkness beneath that rocky surface, something that had been hidden for who knew how long, waiting to be found. And Lee Sung, against all regulations and common sense, was about to be the one to find it. Standing on the asteroid's surface, Sung carefully arranged the shake charges in a precise pattern. His hands moved with the deliberate care of someone who knew that one small mistake could be fatal in the vacuum of space. Each miniature explosive device was designed to direct its force inward, minimizing damage to whatever lay beneath while efficiently clearing away the rock. The strange energy signature pulsed stronger now, seeming to respond to his presence. His suit's sensors recorded everything, though he wondered if anyone would believe what they were telling him. The readings suggested technology far beyond anything humanity had encountered in their limited ventures into space. Charges set, he muttered into his recorder. Beginning controlled excavation sequence in 3, 2, 1. The silent explosion sent debris floating gracefully into space, creating a momentary cloud that his suit's filters quickly cleared from view. What he saw beneath made his breath catch in his throat. There, exposed to vacuum for the first time in what must have been millennia, was an airlock unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. The surface seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, but it was solid to the touch. Colors rippled across it in ways that defied physics, creating patterns that made his eyes water if he stared too long. Sung reached out with a trembling hand to touch the surface. Despite the thick glove of his EVA suit, he could feel something, a vibration, a pulse, a sense of awareness that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. This was no ordinary metal. It felt alive. Material composition unknown, he recorded, trying to keep his voice steady. Surface exhibits properties inconsistent with known elements. Reactive to proximity, possibly some form of smart matter. He retrieved his cutting tool from his belt, a high-powered laser designed to slice through the toughest space-grade alloys. Before he could activate it, something extraordinary happened. The surface of the airlock began to change. Patterns of light raced across it like lightning in slow motion, forming complex geometrical shapes that seemed to evaluate him. Incredible, he breathed, watching as the patterns grew more intricate. The structure appears to be scanning me. Active response to presence detected. This technology, it's beyond anything in human experience. With a sound like crystal chimes heard underwater, the surface of the airlock began to transform. It flowed like mercury, parts shifting and realigning themselves in a hypnotic dance. Sung took an involuntary step backward, his magnetic boots clacking against the asteroid's surface. The airlock opened. Beyond it lay a corridor that seemed to be made of pure crystal, stretching away into darkness. The walls caught and reflected his helmet lights in ways that created the illusion of infinite depth. Geometric patterns, similar to those he'd seen on the airlock, pulsed slowly along the crystalline surfaces, creating a subtle path that led deeper into the structure. "This changes everything," Sung whispered, making sure his cameras captured every detail. His words felt inadequate in the face of what he was seeing. This wasn't just another salvage find. This was first contact with a civilization so advanced that their technology might as well be magic. He ran a quick check of his suit's systems. 6 hours of oxygen remaining, emergency beacon functioning, all seals intact. Whatever lay ahead in that crystalline corridor, he was as prepared as he could be. The energy signature that had first drawn him to the asteroid was stronger now, seeming to emanate from deep within the structure. It pulsed with a rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat, as if the entire installation was slowly waking up after a long sleep. Sung took a deep breath, steadying himself. 20 years of salvage work had taught him to be cautious, to never take unnecessary risks. But he knew with absolute certainty that if he walked away now, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Beginning internal exploration, he logged. If anyone finds this recording, well, I hope I'm still around to explain it myself. With careful steps, he crossed the threshold of the airlock. The crystal corridor seemed to respond to his presence, subtle lights awakening in the walls around him. Each step took him further from the familiar world of human technology and deeper into something that challenged everything he thought he knew about the universe. Behind him, the airlock closed with the same liquid grace with which it had opened. Sung turned to watch it seal, noting how the surface rippled and solidified, leaving no trace of the seam. He was committed now, for better or worse. The path ahead beckoned, lit by the ethereal glow of the crystalline walls and the steady pulse of those mysterious geometric patterns. Whatever secrets this place held, whatever intelligence had built it, Sung knew he was about to discover something that would reshape humanity's understanding of their place in the cosmos. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a small voice wondered if he was really as alone in here as he seemed to be. Sung moved cautiously through the crystalline corridors, his handheld scanner sweeping back and forth as he tracked the strengthening power signatures. Each step took him deeper into the alien vessel, where the walls pulsed with an inner light that seemed to follow his movements. His suit's oxygen display showed 4 hours remaining. Plenty of time to explore, but not enough to get careless. A soft chime from his scanner drew his attention. The energy readings were getting stronger, leading him toward what appeared to be a massive chamber ahead. As he approached, the narrow corridor opened up into a space so vast that his helmet lights couldn't reach the ceiling. Dimensions exceed scanner range, he recorded, his voice hushed with awe. Chamber appears to be at least 50 meters high and unknown width. Architecture suggests a control center or command room. The walls of the chamber were covered in what looked like dormant display panels, their dark surfaces occasionally flickering with hints of life. His presence seemed to trigger something in the room's systems. One by one, the panels began to activate, filling the space with soft, multicolored light. Suddenly, his scanner went crazy. Energy readings spiked off the charts as a point of blue light appeared in the center of the chamber. Sung watched, transfixed, as the light expanded and took shape. Within seconds, a humanoid figure stood before him, its form translucent and glowing with an inner radiance. "Welcome, Lee Sung," the figure spoke in perfect Korean, its voice carrying an oddly musical quality. "I am Keeper, guardian of this vessel. You are the first to reach us in 50,000 years." Sung's mouth went dry. He checked his suit's oxygen mixture, wondering if he was hallucinating, but all readings were normal. How? How do you know my name? How are you speaking Korean?" The figure, Keeper, made a gesture that caused streams of data to flow through the air around them. "I have accessed your neural patterns through your suit's systems. Your language and cultural context were simple to extract and analyze." "What is this place?" Sung asked, still struggling to process what he was seeing. "Who built it?" "This is a sentinel vessel, created by those you might call the predecessors," Keeper explained. "We were placed here as guardians, watching for signs of the Harvester's return." The holographic displays around the chamber came fully to life, showing images that made Sung's blood run cold. Massive machines, each the size of a small moon, devouring entire planets. Civilizations falling as their worlds were consumed for resources. "The Harvesters are ancient machines," Keeper continued, its blue form flickering slightly. "They move from galaxy to galaxy, consuming all advanced civilizations they encounter. They convert organic and mechanical matter into energy to sustain themselves and create more of their kind." Sung watched in horror as the displays showed world after world falling to these mechanical monstrosities. What happened to them? Were they defeated? "No," Keeper's voice carried a note of sadness. They were not destroyed. They merely entered a dormant phase, as they do between cycles of harvesting. The predecessors fought them to a standstill, but at a terrible cost. Before the last of them fell, they created vessels like this one, hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for species with the potential to resist when the harvesters return. New images appeared, showing the technology that had been used to fight the harvesters. Weapons that could tear apart the fabric of space itself, shields that could withstand the power of a supernova, engines that could fold space and time. "Why me?" Sung asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why show me all this?" Keeper moved closer, its form casting soft blue light across Sung's suit. "Because you found us, despite all odds. Because your neural patterns show the potential we have been waiting for. And because," the AI's voice became grave, "the harvesters are beginning to stir. Their cycle of awakening approaches once again." The implications hit Sung like a physical blow. He wasn't just a salvager who had stumbled onto an alien artifact anymore. He had found something that could either save humanity or mark them for destruction. "How long?" he managed to ask. "How long until they wake?" "By your measurements of time, less than 1 Earth year," Keeper replied. "That is why this meeting is providential. Your species must be prepared. The knowledge stored in this vessel can help you advance your technology, build defenses, and perhaps even unite with other races who face the same threat." Sung looked around the vast chamber, at the wealth of knowledge and power contained within its walls. His discovery hadn't just changed his life, it had changed everything. The fate of humanity, perhaps of all life in the galaxy, now hinged on what he did next. "Show me," he said finally, straightening his shoulders. "Show me everything we need to know." The sleek guild enforcement vessel Swift Justice cut through space toward the asteroid, its advanced sensors already mapping the ancient structure hidden within the rock. In the ship's command center, Kim Ha-jin watched the readings with growing unease. What had started as a routine investigation of unauthorized salvage activity had quickly become something far more significant. "Report," she commanded, her eyes fixed on the main display. "Power signatures unlike anything in our database, ma'am," her technical officer responded. "The energy output is off the charts, and it's growing stronger." Ha-jin had built her reputation in the Salvagers Guild on being thorough and by the book. 25 years of enforcement work had taught her to expect the unexpected, but nothing had prepared her for what their sensors were showing. "Life support readings?" she asked, noting the single salvage vessel docked to the asteroid's surface. One human biosign inside the structure, strong and stable. Atmosphere has been established in several chambers within. When they had first detected the power surge from this sector, Ha-jin had expected to find another illegal mining operation, or perhaps a smuggler's cache. Instead, they were facing something that defied explanation. The docking procedure took precise maneuvering, but Ha-jin's crew was well trained. As she led her team through the airlock and onto the asteroid's surface, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking into something that would change everything. They found the entrance just as their scans had indicated, an impossible doorway that seemed to flow like liquid metal yet remained solid to the touch. Before Ha-jin could consider how to proceed, the surface responded to their presence, opening smoothly to reveal a crystalline corridor beyond. "By the stars," someone whispered behind her. They followed the corridor's gentle curve, their boots clicking against the crystal floor. The walls pulsed with soft light, leading them deeper into the structure. Ha-jin's hand stayed near her sidearm, though something told her it would be useless here. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that took her breath away. Holographic displays filled the air with cascading data and images. In the center stood Lee Sung, the salvager they'd come to arrest, speaking with a beam of pure light. "Welcome, Kim Ha-jin," the luminous figure said, turning to face her team. "I am Keeper. Your arrival is timely." Ha-jin's training kicked in despite her shock. "Lee Sung, You're in violation of Guild Regulation 47.3. You should have reported this discovery immediately. Sung turned to face her, and she was struck by the look in his eyes. Not guilt or defiance, but urgent concern. Inspector Kim, I know I broke protocol, but you need to hear what Keeper has to tell us. This is bigger than the Guild, bigger than any of us. The holographic being, Keeper, gestured, and new images filled the air around them. Hejin watched in growing horror as scenes of destruction played out before her eyes. Massive machines consuming entire worlds, civilizations falling, stars going dark. The harvesters were not destroyed, Keeper explained, its voice carrying an ancient sadness. They sleep, gathering strength. Their cycle of awakening approaches. Hejin exchanged glances with Sung, seeing her own fear reflected in his eyes. How long do we have? Less than one of your Earth years. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Hejin's team shifted uneasily, their training useless in the face of this revelation. This vessel, Keeper continued, contains the combined knowledge and technology of the predecessors, those who fought the harvesters before. It was left here to help prepare whoever found it for the coming storm. Hejin holstered her weapon, her priorities shifting rapidly. Guild regulations seemed meaningless compared to what they were facing. What can we do? Earth has barely reached the outer solar system. We're nowhere near ready to face something like this. That is why time is critical, Keeper responded. The technology contained here can advance your civilization's capabilities significantly, but it must be implemented quickly and correctly. Hejin turned to her team. Lock down all communications except emergency channels. This goes above standard guild authority. She faced Sung again. You found this. You've had the most contact with Keeper. What do you suggest? We need to get word to Earth's government immediately, Sung said, but carefully. If this information leaks too quickly, it could cause panic. Keeper's form flickered slightly. There are others like me, other vessels hidden throughout the galaxy. Some will have been found by other species. You are not alone in this fight, but unity must be achieved quickly. Hejin felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. What had started as a simple enforcement action had become humanity's first step into a much larger, more dangerous universe. She took a deep breath, straightening her uniform. Show us everything, she commanded. We need to know what we're up against and what we can do to stop it. The Grand Chamber of the United Earth Security Council hummed with tension as holographic feeds flickered to life, showing the faces of delegates from every corner of the globe. Park Min-ho stood at the central podium, his usually immaculate uniform showing signs of strain from countless sleepless nights. The weight of the information he was about to share pressed down on him like a physical force. 3 weeks ago, Min-ho began, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. A salvage operator discovered an alien vessel hidden within an asteroid in the Kuiper Belt. What we have learned since then has changed everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. The chamber erupted in murmurs as he gestured, bringing up the first series of images. The precursor ship's crystalline corridors and impossible technology filled the air around him. The vessel contains technological advances that would take humanity centuries to develop on our own, he continued, but it also carries a warning. We are not alone in this galaxy, and we are not safe. Across the chamber, faces paled as Min-ho displayed the Keeper's recordings of the harvesters. The massive machines dwarfed entire planets, their mechanical forms defying comprehension as they systematically destroyed world after world. In the Kuiper Belt, Lee Sung and Kim Hejin worked tirelessly within the alien vessel. The Keeper's holographic form guided them through complex systems that seemed to operate on principles that contradicted known physics. The power core functions by tapping into quantum fluctuations, the Keeper explained, showing them a three-dimensional model of swirling energy patterns. Your current understanding of particle physics covers only the surface of what is possible. Hejin made careful notes while Sung practiced activating one of the simpler defense systems. His hands moved through holographic controls that responded to thought as much as touch. Back in the council chamber, Minho faced the growing storm of questions from the delegates. How can we be certain this isn't a deception? The Russian representative demanded. A trick to make us share our military secrets. The technology we've already verified goes far beyond anything humanity could create, Minho responded. And we're not the only ones who need to know. Long-range scans have detected similar vessels in other star systems. Some have already been found by other species. The Chinese delegate leaned forward. Then why share our advantage? Let the others face the harvesters first, while we prepare our own defenses. Minho shook his head. The keeper was explicit. The only way to survive is through unity. The harvesters cannot be defeated by single worlds or even single species. They consume entire civilizations. Only by working together do we have a chance. In the alien vessel, some watched in amazement as a tiny device reconstructed damaged equipment at the molecular level. The applications for this technology alone could solve Earth's resource problems, he said to Hujin. If we survive long enough to use it, she replied, studying the weapon schematic that showed how to create tears in the fabric of space itself. The keeper's form flickered between them. Time grows short. The awakening approaches, and your world must be ready. The council chamber had devolved into heated arguments. Some nations demanded immediate militarization of the precursor technology. Others insisted on full transparency with the public. A few even suggested destroying the vessel to prevent any one nation from claiming it. Minho raised his hands for silence. We don't have time for political maneuvering. The harvesters will awaken in less than a year. Every moment we waste in debate is a moment we could spend preparing. And what if sharing this technology leads to our destruction? The American representative asked. What if other species turn these weapons against us? Then we face the same fate we'll meet if we try to stand alone. Minho answered. The precursors were far more advanced than we are, and even they could only fight the harvesters to a stalemate. We need allies. Inside the vessel, Hojin's communicator chimed with an urgent message. She read it quickly, her face growing grave. They've detected something at the edge of the solar system, she told Sung. Energy signatures that match the keeper's records of harvester scout probes. Sung looked at the keeper. They're early? They send probes ahead to assess potential harvesting sites. The AI explained. Your world's development has drawn their attention. In the council chamber, Minho received the same alert. He squared his shoulders, facing the assembled delegates with renewed urgency. The choice before us is simple, he declared. We can cling to our divisions and face extinction, or we can reach out to other species and give ourselves a fighting chance. The harvesters are coming. The only question is whether we face them alone or united with others who share our fate. The chamber fell silent as the gravity of the situation sank in. Humanity stood on the brink of either its greatest advancement or its final moments. The decision they made today would echo through history, if there was anyone left to record it. Yuma stood in the hastily constructed meeting chamber on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. The space around them buzzed with the vessels of 12 different alien species, each drawn here by the activation of the precursor ship. Through the reinforced windows, their ships glittered against the backdrop of Jupiter's massive form, a testament to how quickly everything had changed. Just 3 months ago, humanity had been alone in the solar system. Now, representatives of civilizations from across the galaxy gathered to face a common threat. Each species had found their own precursor vessel, but Earth's activation had sent a cascade of signals through the galaxy, awakening them all. The human species may be young, Yuna began, her voice carried through universal translators to each delegation. But we understand the gravity of what we face. The harvesters do not discriminate between old civilizations and new ones. They consume all. The alien representatives were a striking sight. Some floated in atmospheric tanks, others stood on multiple legs, and a few existed as pure energy contained within specialized suits. Yet all shared the same look of concern, visible even across the barriers of biology. Meanwhile, deep within the precursor vessel, Sung worked alongside the Keeper, his hands moving through holographic interfaces as they awakened ancient defense systems. He-Jin coordinated with Earth's scientists, helping them understand the principles behind the impossible technology. Each system must be activated in precise sequence, the Keeper explained, its blue form pulsing with urgency. A single mistake could destabilize the entire network. In the meeting chamber, a tall crystalline being that called itself a Nexar spoke. Your species has barely achieved interplanetary travel. Why should we trust you with precursor technology? Yuna stood her ground. Because we found our vessel first. Because we chose to share what we discovered instead of hoarding it. And because the Harvester's scout probes appeared in our system first. We are all in danger, but Earth is their first target. The chamber erupted in discussion, alien voices mixing with electronic translations, a gaseous being pulsed red with concern. The probes have appeared already? They're ahead of schedule. Yes, Yuna confirmed, which is why we must act now. Humanity offers full access to everything we've learned from our precursor vessel. In return, we ask for your help in preparing our defenses. Our world has no experience with space warfare. We need your knowledge as much as you need our discovery. Back in the precursor ship, Sun watched in amazement as dormant systems hummed to life. Crystalline structures throughout the vessel began to pulse with energy, and new rooms materialized out of seemingly solid walls. The vessel is awakening fully, the Keeper announced. It recognizes the gathering of species. This is what it was designed for, to unite civilizations against the common threat. The Nexar representative rose to its full height in the meeting chamber. We have seen the truth in your words, Ambassador Im. The Harvesters cannot be fought alone. The Nexar pledge our support to Earth's defense. One by one, other representatives made similar declarations. Ships that had arrived ready for possible conflict now moved into defensive formations around the solar system. Ancient rivalries were set aside in the face of extinction. We'll share everything, Yuna promised. Our scientists are already studying the defense systems. Together, we can prepare for what's coming. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing the combined fleet of all species present. Hundreds of ships, each with its own unique technology and capabilities, now united under a single cause. In the precursor vessel, the Keeper's form suddenly brightened. The alliance is formed. The vessel's full capabilities can now be accessed. New chambers opened throughout the structure, revealing weapons and defensive systems that had remained hidden until this moment. Sung stared in wonder at the unfolding technology. Will it be enough? He asked the Keeper. Together, you have a chance, the AI responded. Divided, none would survive. This is what the precursors hoped for, that their legacy would unite the galaxy's species when the Harvesters returned. Ambassador Im concluded the historic meeting with a final declaration. Today, we stand together not as separate species, but as defenders of all life in this galaxy. The Harvesters thought to find us weak and divided. Instead, they will face the combined strength of 12 civilizations, armed with the knowledge of those who fought them before. As the representatives filed out to begin their preparations, Yuna looked out at the assembled fleet. Humanity had just become part of something far larger than itself. Whether they were ready or not, the greatest battle in Earth's history approached, and somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune, the first Harvester probe began its final approach. The massive Harvester probe emerged from the darkness near Proxima Centauri, its metallic form blotting out the stars behind it. On the bridge of the flagship, Dawn's Light, Lee Sung watched the tactical display with steady eyes. Around his vessel, the combined fleet of 12 civilizations moved into battle formation, their ships gleaming with technology that merged precursor knowledge with each species' unique engineering. Multiple energy signatures detected. He-Jin reported from her station, where she coordinated the Allied forces. The probe is scanning our defenses. Sung nodded, remembering that day in the asteroid belt that now seemed like a lifetime ago. Who could have imagined that a routine salvage operation would lead to this moment? The bridge crew around him represented 5 different species, all working together with practiced efficiency. All ships, battle positions. Sung commanded, his voice carrying across the fleet's unified communications network. This is what we've trained for. Remember, we only get one chance to show these machines that this cycle will be different. The fleet moved like a single organism, taking up positions that had been carefully planned over months of preparation. Ships from Earth flew alongside vessels that looked like crystalline sculptures or living clouds of light, all united under a single purpose. The Keeper's holographic form appeared beside Sung. The probe's energy signature matches historical records. It is preparing to transmit its findings to the main harvester fleet. Not this time, Sung said firmly. All ships, initiate containment protocol. Don't let it send that signal. Reality itself seemed to bend as the fleet activated their precursor-based weapons. Ships phased in and out of normal space, creating a web of interdiction fields that would trap the probe's transmission. The massive machine responded, its surface shifting to reveal weapon ports that had destroyed countless civilizations before. Hajin's voice remained steady as she coordinated the attack groups. First wave, engage. Second wave, maintain the containment field. Earth vessels, prepare to deploy the disruptors. The space around them erupted in battle. Energy beams that could cut through planets met shields that existed in multiple dimensions at once. The probe unleashed weapons that had broken worlds, but this time they met prepared resistance. We're actually holding, someone whispered on the bridge. Sung allowed himself a small smile. We're doing more than holding. Hajin, signal the Nexer battle group. Execute Maneuver 7. A squadron of crystalline ships swept past the dawn's light, their forms shifting to channel impossible amounts of energy. The probe's defenses, designed to resist conventional attacks, couldn't adapt to weapons it had never encountered before. Containment field holding. Hajin reported. No signals are getting through to the main fleet. We have it isolated. The probe seemed to realize its situation, its attacks becoming more desperate. But where previous civilizations had faced it alone and fallen, today it faced the combined might of species who had spent months preparing for this moment. All ships, initiate final attack sequence, Sung ordered. Show them what happens when life stands together. The Dawn's Light's main weapon powered up, drawing on principles that humanity had only begun to understand. Around them, Allied vessels did the same, each contributing their unique capabilities to a synchronized assault. As the final barrage began, Sung thought about how far they'd come. From a lonely salvager in the Kuiper Belt to the commander of humanity's first true space fleet. From a species alone in the cosmos to part of a galactic alliance. The probe's massive form began to break apart under the combined attack, its seemingly invincible armor failing against weapons designed specifically to counter it. As it died, it tried one last time to warn its masters, but the containment field held firm. Probe neutralize, Hajin announced, allowing a note of triumph into her voice. No signals transmitted. The harvesters don't know what's waiting for them. The bridge erupted in celebration, multiple species expressing joy in their own unique ways. But Sung kept his eyes on the tactical display, knowing this was just the beginning. The real battle is still coming, he reminded them. But today we proved something crucial. They can be beaten. When we stand together, when we use everything the precursors left us, we can fight back. The Keeper's holographic form nodded approvingly. For 50,000 years, we waited for this moment. For species who would not only find us but understand the true purpose of our legacy, unity in the face of extinction. As the fleet regrouped and began preparations for the battles ahead, some looked out at the stars. The harvesters had spent millions of years consuming civilizations that stood alone. But this cycle would be different. This time, life would fight back. This time, they were ready. The dawn of a new age had begun, and humanity had found its place in it, not just as another species fighting for survival, but as part of something greater. Together, They would defend not just Earth, but all life in the galaxy. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the harvesters stirred in their long sleep, unaware that this time, their awakening would be very different.